The number one thing that can go wrong with your makeup is your foundation. And today we're talking about oxidation. Why does your foundation get orange? If you've ever suffered from Oompa Loompa face, I got you today. I'm going to tell you all the reasons why that happens, easy things that you can do to fix it to never have that orange looking face again. Reason number one why your foundation is oxidizing is because you have the wrong skincare underneath. So a lot of people think like, oh, there's something wrong with my foundation. No, no, no. Your skincare and what you put on your skin underneath your makeup can drastically change how your face is going to look. I talk about this all the time. Skin prep is the most important thing for getting beautiful looking foundations. So the problem is that heavy moisturizers can be a little bit oily, or if you have a sunscreen that is greasy, it can slip all over the face and it can cause the foundation to mix with your oils. And anytime foundation mix with natural oils, there's always a chance it's going to oxidize because the oils in your skin mix with the colorants and the pigments in the foundation. And if you are using too heavy of a moisturizer underneath, all of that oil from the moisturizer plus your skin can mix with that foundation and it can cause it to oxidize. Now the fix for this is to apply a lightweight moisturizer, something like this. I want to show you all the texture of what we're looking for. Do you see how it's creamy? But it's also lightweight. Do you see how it's not super heavy? It's not overly thick. Once you start to blend it in, let me show you on the back of my hand. Do you see how it just blends right into the skin? It absorbs. It's very lightweight. If you use a really heavy moisturizer during the day and you know you're going to put foundation on top of it or wear makeup, you have a higher chance of it separating because that cream, if it's really, really heavy, it's going to get a little bit greasy, which is then going to break down that foundation. Let me show you the texture of this. This is a thicker one. This is what I use at night. Do you see that texture? You see how it's thicker? It's a little bit, not clumpy, but you see it's a little bit thicker of a formula. I want that at night, but in the morning, if I use something really heavy like this, it really can affect how many foundation applies on top. Reason number two, your foundation is oxidizing is because you are not using a primer. Now, I preach of this on the high tops. If you were using especially a silicone foundation, which 95% of foundations on the market are silicone based, you've got to be using a primer. Primers are amazing at creating a base on the face and helping foundation to lay smoothly on top. It's going to smooth out any fine lines, pores. It's going to create a barrier on your skin, so it's going to keep the oils from breaking through into the foundation. The problem with this is the same thing as before, is if you don't use a primer on your face, your natural skin is interacting with the foundation on top. So throughout the day, as your skin starts to produce oil, that oil comes to the surface. Those oils are mixing with the pigments in that foundation formula, and it can oxidize over time. So that's why you guys see when you have foundation, it looks great in the morning. You're like, oh, I look flawless. And then you go on lunch break and you look in the mirror, you're like, I'm Oompa Loompa, I'm orange, what happened? It's because over time, your oil has been producing, it's come to the surface, now it's mixing that foundation, and now you've got Oompa Loompa face. Now the fix for this is obviously just to apply primer, but you want to choose the right one. I have a few that I really, really like. So if you have very, very dry skin, you need hydration. I like the D'Alba Double Serum All-in-One Balm. It's technically not a primer, but I use it as one because it creates a beautiful layer with some shine. Let me show you all the texture of this one. So, but again, this is only for dry or actually super dry skin. If you have combination oily, you're not going to like this one. If you have combination skin, I really like the Lancome La Base Pro. I talk about this all the time because it's a silicone-based primer, works with almost every foundation out there. It's lightweight, it just works. Combination skin, great. And then if you have oily skin, get a mattifying primer. I really like the Maybelline Master Blur Stick. It's cheap. You can get it on Amazon. It works great. I'm a huge fan, you all, of primers. No matter the age, no matter the skin type, primers really help your foundation last longer and not oxidize. Reason number three, your foundations are oxidizing is because you're using expired formula. I know some of you all will be using those foundations for like 5 or 6 years. This is the one category I will say, toss it. This and mascaras, you guys. I don't play with those two. Powders, all that stuff, use it for as long as you want. Scrape off the top layer, you're good. But foundations, you really can't be using them more than 2 years, you all, because it really can break apart. The problem here with this step is that foundations over time, they separate. And you'll see it in the jar when you hold it up. Looks like it's separating, like there's oil at the top, and then you've got the pigments at the bottom. It looks kind of funky. And then when you put it on your hand or your face, it smells. It has a texture to it. It's not well blended. That means it's expired, you all, and it's definitely going to have a higher chance of oxidizing because that formula is disintegrating and it's breaking apart. Now, the fix for this is a couple things. You can when you first buy it, because there will not be an expiration date on the bottle. There may be one on the box, but you could put a little sticker on the bottle when you bought it so you know that you have 2 years max of when you bought it to when it starts to expire. A lot of people aren't going to do that. So what you have to do, why did I just do this? My teacher bell came on. I'm like, you have to check the texture, you all. If you start seeing in your glass bottle, the foundation is separating. If you've ever seen that where the pigments are at the bottom, you see like some oil at the top. If it's doing that, or if it smells funny, or if the texture has changed when you go to apply that foundation, you're like, man, I don't remember it being this thick and crusty before. Usually it will get either really greasy or it'll get thick and chunky. That's when you know it's probably expired. If it's been a couple years and you know that's been sitting in your drawer for a while, you just toss it out. Quickly, I want to show you a cheek technique that I'm doing right now, and also to show you a couple brushes that just launched. These are freaking amazing. They're by Anissa Brushes, who is our sponsor for today's video. They have this cover and set brush. If you guys have not tried this yet, please trust me. No, I don't steer you wrong. This is the softest, most beautiful brush. It's perfect for setting your makeup. So I have my Fenty powder, you guys know I like, and you can pick up some of this. This is how I set my makeup today. So it has that kind of pointed edge to it, but it's really soft. So it's perfect for getting here under the nose, under the eyes, around the chin, the lips. It's just great for setting powder, but also I love it for applying blush. That's what I did today. This is an Elia blush, but I'm going to take the side of this now. So this is a multi-purpose brush, and you can tap on the blush like this. And because it's so soft, it doesn't pick up any of the foundation underneath. It is such a beautiful brush for applying just the right amount of color. Do you see that? And then the other brush that they just launched, I freaking love this one so much. This is their Conceal and Correct. It's a smaller version of that. So they have the two brushes, a bigger one and a smaller one. This one you can use to set concealer under the eyes because you can tap it under here like this. But my favorite use for this is to apply cream blush. So I'm going to take the Summer Fridays cream blush and then take the Conceal and Correct brush, and we're going to put it on the side like this. Because it's so soft and slightly dense, you can apply the cream blush on top of the cheekbones. It's the perfect size for that, but also if you want to do a highlighter, it works great for that because you can just tap it on top of the cheekbones and it gives you a lot of control. Do you see that? This is what I did for my cheeks today. I've been using these brushes nonstop because they're so beautiful. They're multi-purpose. If anyone has been on my channel, you know that I love Anissa Brushes so much because it's a woman-owned brand. It's independent. We support women in this house. Woo woo. So if you want to support an amazing women-owned business and buy some phenomenal brushes that will last you for years, you all, I have her brushes I've had for years and I use them every single day. They've held up amazing over time. So if you're going to invest money in any brushes, please trust me, Anissa Brushes are the best in the market, hands down. So I'll link everything in the box below if you all are interested. Check out these two new brushes. They are holy grail status for me. I'll be using these consistently in my routine. Reason number 4 your foundation is oxidizing is you're applying too much product. Now, don't get me wrong, you all, I love full coverage. I love full glam. As I'm sitting here on camera, I have layers of foundation on my face, but what happens if you're using too much product, you're doing multiple layers of foundation, you're always going to have a higher risk of oxidation because it's trapping oxygen. So if your face can't breathe, basically it's not getting oxygen, that oxygen gets trapped, those oils get trapped. And again, the same thing happens. It breaks apart the foundation, it starts separating, and then it causes it to oxidize because again, all of those oils are getting trapped in there, mixing with the pigments. There you go, oxidation, aka Oompa Loompa face. So the fix for this is to apply just one layer at a time. I just put my foundation on now, and when I apply my foundation, I love using a buffing brush like this because it really works it into the skin. And I do one pump at a time. So I'll just take my foundation. You guys know I love my NARS Sheer Glow. I'll put one pump like that and then start buffing it into the skin. Then I'll go in with a concealer to kind of add extra coverage where I need. But if you apply too much foundation at once, it really can oxidize because there's so much product sitting on your face. It's going to interact with your skin's pH, your natural oils, the environment, all these factors. You have a higher risk of it oxidizing versus just applying a light layer and then going in with concealer on just the areas you need extra coverage. Reason number 5 your foundation could be oxidizing is your skin's pH is off. Now, a lot of people don't talk about about this one. They don't talk about pH when it comes to makeup. They just talk about it in skincare. So if your skin has a low pH, that is going to be more acidic. That's going to cause the foundation to oxidize. That happens if you overstrip your skin. You wash it with a really harsh cleanser. Your skin is dying for that pH to be leveled out. So when that happens, you overstrip your skin and then you put your foundation on top, it can oxidize because your skin's pH is too low, which is then going to interact with that formula. Now, the fix for this one is to incorporate some pH balancing products into your skincare routine. There's a couple options you can do. You can either do a cleanser, you can do a pH balancing toner, something to balance out your pH, because what can happen if you use a really harsh cleanser that strips your skin, your pH levels can be altered, and so you put all your makeup on top. What happens is that either too low or too high pH on your skin is going to interact with the foundation. It's going to oxidize. So a couple of products that I use personally in my skincare routine is the Regelica Water Lily pH Balanced Cleanser. It's a gentle cleanser, does not strip the skin. It's not going to affect your skin barrier, and it is formulated to be pH balancing. So every time I use this cleanser, I feel like, okay, I don't have oxidation problems because I know I'm using this in my skincare. Also, there's several brands that have toners with pH balancing in them. I like this one by Bioma. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. The Balancing Face Mist. So any toner, you guys, that has on there or is being marketed as pH balancing, you can wash your face, then mist on that toner, let it set, let it soak in. It's going to balance that pH, put your moisturizer on top, and then do your foundation. You're going to have less chances of that foundation oxidizing as long as you make sure that your pH is balanced. Reason number 6 that your foundation is oxidized is you could have chosen the wrong shade. Now, I am guilty of this one, you all. I am a neutral undertone, and I have worn a lot of warm foundations because I like how that warmth looks on my skin. So sometimes when I apply a foundation, I'm like, ugh, that looks yellow, Marlena. Just looks not good. Or sometimes I choose a foundation that's too dark for me and I try to make it work, and it will give the illusion that your foundation is oxidized. And a lot of people will be like, that foundation oxidized, it turned orange. When in reality, it could be that you chose either the wrong undertone or that you chose a shade that is too dark. Now, the fix for this is to choose a foundation that is one shade lighter than your skin. I know you're probably like, Marlena, that's gonna look crazy. You all, if it's easier to fix a lighter foundation versus a darker one, you can always add bronzer, you can always add contouring and things like that to warm up the face and make it look darker, but it's really hard to make it lighter once it's too dark, if that makes sense. So I have a foundation here. It's the Faux Era one. This is the color 102 Nude. Let me show you all. It's fairly cool toned. It's kind of a beigey color. I don't know if you all can see that. Let me pull it back so you can see without the lights. It's a tannish color. It's not too warm. The foundation I have on right now is an Archegos. It runs really warm. So what I like to do is put this one on, and it's one shade lighter and it's a little bit cooler. So what happens throughout the day, if this does oxidize, which this one doesn't, but if it were to oxidize and get warmer and darker, it's not going to be so obvious because it's one shade lighter than my skin and it's in a cool tone. So when in doubt, you all, if your foundation is oxidizing, just don't choose a warm undertone. Get a cool one, get a neutral, something like that, and then see if over time it starts to warm up throughout the day. It's probably because your foundation is honestly just the wrong tone. Reason number 7 your foundation oxidized is it could be because of environmental exposures. Same thing with oils in your skin mixing with the pigments. It can happen with just anything in the air. So if your foundation, if you didn't put any powder on top or if you didn't lock it with a setting spray, it can be naturally interacting with the oxygen or things in the air, and that can cause it to oxidize as well. This especially happens in hotter climates and in especially moisture climates. So I lived in Texas for a while. It was hot and humid, you all, and I did notice that my foundations changed and they oxidized a bit more because heat and moisture are the two culprits for causing oxidation the fastest. Those two factors can really speed up chemical reactions with the foundation, therefore causing it to oxidize a lot. So if you live in a hot climate or especially hot and humid climate, you really have to watch out for this one because that can cause your foundation to oxidize a lot more. But we do have a fix for this. Now the fix for this is to apply powder on top, and I just like to take a clear translucent powder. I love this Givenchy one. I know she's so pricey, you guys, but it really does work, and it's translucent, so it doesn't add extra color, which could that in turn look Oompa Loompa-ish. So I just take a bit of the powder and set it, and what that's going to do is create a barrier between your skin and the environment around you because we have powder on top. But the trick is I'm over 40, you guys. If I over powder, I'm going to look like a dusty, crusty cake. We don't want that either. So if you don't want to put too much powder on your skin, I really recommend setting it with a locking setting spray. A lot of brands call sprays setting sprays when it's really just to get rid of cakiness. You need a that is meant to set the makeup on. I really like like the One Size Beauty one. Once I'm done with my makeup, I'll mist this all over the face and it will lock in my makeup. It'll create almost a barrier between my skin and the environment, so it has less chances of it oxidizing. Please come back next week for another makeup video. I'm so grateful for you are here. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon.